Viewpoint. Sustain activism for survivors. This editorial discusses sexual assault on campus. Please refer to the end of the article for on- and off-campus resources. For many on our campus, particularly survivors of interpersonal violence, the fall 2018 semester was emotionally exhausting. Highly publicized allegations of sexual assault pervaded our communities, both on and off campus. The student body was left vulnerable and confused when the university's former Title X coordinator Laura Cutway abruptly resigned last June. Administrators delayed in responding to over 1,300 students who petitioned the university to rescind Theodore McCarrick's and Wuerl's honorary degrees. Betsy DeVos in the Department of Education replaced previous Title X guidelines in November with policies that will severely harm survivors. These events drove a group of students across our campus to form Students Taking Action Against Interpersonal Violence last October. After months of activism from STAIV and various student leaders, university administrators submitted a comment to the Department of Education on the proposed Title X guidelines, attended STAIV's town hall and rescinded McCarrick's degree last month. But we as a campus cannot allow issues of interpersonal violence to fade from our collective consciousness, nor should we be satisfied with university administrators doing the bare minimum. On these issues, students should seek to create supportive spaces for survivors of all identities, provide ongoing and accessible mental health services, and foster student understanding of the complexity of interpersonal violence. Currently, survivors of diverse identities do not have spaces to talk or simply decompress in a space where they know others share their experiences. These survivors are less likely to report experiencing assault, and more likely to believe that those institutions may retraumatize them. Students must demand accessible spaces that cater to the experiences of low-income survivors, survivors of color, LGBTQ+ survivors, survivors who identify as men, disabled survivors and undocumented or immigrant survivors. Moreover, survivors do not have access to adequate mental health services. The mental health needs of survivors often extend beyond the one free semester of counseling they receive at counseling and psychiatric services, and many cannot afford off-campus care. Additionally, survivors often have to wait days, sometimes even weeks, to secure an appointment with the confidential counselors at Health Education Services. While the Georgetown University Student Association's pilot program to provide stipends for students to obtain off-campus mental health services is an important step, students must continue to urge the university to commit to fully subsidize the program, increase the capacity of CAPS to provide ongoing care, and prioritize the staffing needs at Health Education Services. Students should also foster a broader recognition of interpersonal violence in classrooms and other spaces. While all freshmen and student leaders take mandatory preventative education, structured discussions about sexual assault prevention and combating campus rape culture often do not extend beyond these spaces. Professors should be trained how to discuss the topic in class, or how they can accommodate a student in their class, without requiring them to disclose a traumatic event. Campus clubs, which often are the primary social networks for students, should mandate sexual assault peer educators trainings on consent, sexual harassment, and how club culture intersects and interacts with rape culture on campus. While Georgetown students can support many structural initiatives with their activism, we as a community should also eliminate the language of victim blaming and excusing perpetrators that supports rape culture in our day-to-day interactions. According to the 2016 Campus Climate Survey, 1 in 3 women, 1 in 9 men, and 1 in 3 trans and gender nonconforming students has experienced some kind of unwanted sexual contact at Georgetown, which means there is likely a survivor in every student organization and classroom. It is essential that we center survivors in our language to avoid unintentionally re-traumatizing our peers.